Welcome to Draft Month, Saints fans. It is April 1st, which means the draft is almost here. It starts on April 24th, and I can tell you right now, I got word from the bosses. We are going to be live here at Saints Now by Chat Sports, so I got to encourage you to subscribe to the channel. We do New Orleans Saints content all the time. It's exclusively Saints content by Saints fans for Saints fans. What more could you ask for? The picks on draft day, by the way, will come in faster, quicker than when you see it on TV. We're going to break it down, give you deeper analysis, and give you everything from a Saints fan's perspective. And on top of that, no commercials. So join us on draft day. Saints Now by Chat Sports. Subscribe today. We got a lot of fun draft coverage headed your way. Welcome to April. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. My name is Trizzy Trace. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. I was scrolling the interwebs and I stumbled across an ESPN article that was honestly pretty interesting. And it was laying out the perfect draft fits for the top prospects in this upcoming draft. So I figured April 1st, draft month, perfect way to start off the month is seeing who ESPN thinks the Saints and there is the perfect fit for the draft and, getting my reaction to it. So let's kick it right over to ESPN. The Saints could go multiple directions with the 9th overall selection, but I like the idea of new coach Kellen Moore adding Membou to pair him with 2024 first-rounder Taliese Fuaga. That would give the team 2 bookend tackles of the future. Now, while I do agree that the 2 bookend tackles of the future is something nice to consider and something that the Saints should build for, we do know that Kellen Moore is looking to build in the trenches. However, he has mentioned at the NFL owners meeting today that he is comfortable with Taliese Fuaga and Trevor Penning as his tackles. It's worth noting that Trevor Penning, he did actually have a little bit better of a year. It's not amazing by any means, but it's better in terms of where he's going or where he was in the previous seasons. An overall PFF grade of 60.2. He excelled in run blocking. He did give up 5 sacks and 54 pressures. Taliese Fuaga did grade out better according to Pro Football Focus. He also had 6 sacks and 39 pressures given up. And, I also will say when you consider the fact that the O-line was decimated by injuries, that only adds context to this conversation. And obviously the tackles were not great. The O-line was not amazing. But, when you lost Lucas Patrick and you lost Eric McCoy and you couldn't keep everybody intact and you couldn't keep that unit together, things started going haywire. And, I'm a believer that the offensive line is a unit that if you have them intact and it's the same squad over the course of the season, that only benefits the team because there's that cohesion, there's that familiarity, the chemistry, and all of that good stuff. And, I'll also say this, addressing the ESPN side of things here, I think the Saints have done a fine job at investing in the offensive line. It just has not paid off yet. Pretty much every single starter, it was a first or second round pick. So we just haven't seen the development there. We haven't seen great picks made by the team. I don't know what it really comes down to, but the Saints have invested in offensive line. And, obviously they need to continue to invest in that position and into that spot until it's damn near perfect. But, the injuries were a problem, and the offensive line was doing really, really well before the injuries took over. And then on top of that, they've already invested a lot. I'm kind of in the camp of I'd rather go skill position here. But let's talk about Armand Membou because he's a damn good football player. I don't want to get it twisted. If this is the pick, I'm okay with it. I just would prefer to go with a skill position player. But, Armand Membou is a player who could fill in at the right tackle position because he's played right tackle for the past 3 years. So, you can demote Trevor Penning or you can move him back over to left tackle to back up Taliese Fuaga. Point being, he would have the versatility and the ability to play at both spots because Penning has played at both spots. And so, obviously, Trevor Penning did play right tackle. This past year, he played left tackle in the previous seasons for the New Orleans Saints. And Membou is an aggressive guy. He's a very good football player. He loves to compete. He's very, very scrappy, and he's a big reason why Mizzou's offense did have the success that they did last year. He does have a little bit of a lack of size, and, that is something to consider, but I'm also a believer that, size doesn't matter, as they say. He does have the elite quickness, and he does have the body control to be a good football player at the professional level. And, there's an argument to say that he is the best offensive tackle in this draft class. Will Campbell is the other guy that is in that conversation. So side by side, here's how they compare according to PFF. They played pretty much the same amount of snaps. Obviously, Will Campbell played a handful of more, but they're both in the SEC. They both play against really good competition, and Armand Membou just graded out better in every side of or in every aspect of this. According to Pro Football Focus, again, the sacks and the hurries obviously favor Armand Membou as well, and that doesn't take away from Will Campbell. I still think that he is an excellent football player. Just I believe that Armand Membou could make a strong case to be the top offensive lineman prospect. Now, here's how things graded out at the combine for Membou. He had a really good 40-yard dash. He had a really good 20-yard split. The vertical was impressive. He graded out at a 9.9 overall. That is going to have Mickey Loomis foaming at the mouth. But the big thing is he's got to fall to the New Orleans Saints at number 9 overall. And, running a sub 540 at the size of Armand Membou is pretty damn impressive. Now, let's look at Will Campbell, because that 990 compared to that 991, it's pretty damn similar. The 40-yard dash, pretty damn good. The vertical, pretty good. Now, obviously, the height and the weight is something that the relative athletic score is highlighting here, but still graded out to be a phenomenal player and a phenomenal athlete. So, if you're on the clock and it's time to make a pick and you have both of these players, I want you to pick one. Armand Membou or Will Campbell? Are you going to go with the Mizzou Tiger or the LSU Tiger? It's a battle of the Tigers. Let's see who wins. Before we continue this conversation, I want to just really quickly say thank you to Factor Meals for sponsoring today's video. If you're ready to optimize your nutrition this year, Factor has you covered. They have chef-made meals that are gourmet, that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved, by the way, and ready to heat and eat in just a few minutes, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Get started at factormeals.com/SaintsChat50off and use code SaintsChat50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any busy lifestyle. And with 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week, it's easy to pick meals tailored to your goals. Choose from preferences like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, or Keto. Now, I'm a big fan of Factor Meals because I'm a guy who's always on the move. I'm always running late, trying to get home because I'm grinding here at the Chat Sports studio. So when I get home, I don't want to cook a full meal. Factor has made my life so easy. They're delicious, they're nutritious, and honestly, it's made my life even easier when I'm on the road. I'm going out of town this weekend, so I'm going to be bringing a couple Factor meals with me. Just pop them in the microwave, and within a few minutes, I have a meal that is not only great tasting, but makes me feel so good too. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/SaintsChat50off and use code SaintsChat50off to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. All that information is in the comment section and description of this video. Try out that Louisiana shrimp if you're a real one. Shout out to Factor. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. When it comes to Will Campbell, I think that it is a cool story for him. He is from I can't speak today, bro. He is from Monroe. He went to Neville High School, and he did play at LSU. And, he's a guy that would be cool to see stick around and be in Louisiana for his professional career. And I do think that he is going to be a really good offensive tackle for what it's worth. Just because Membou has a better PFF grade doesn't mean that he's going to be a better player. I'm just trying to add context to this conversation. I think it would be a really cool story. However, cool stories are awesome. They don't always translate to wins in the National Football League. So, let's continue this conversation. Armand Membou from ESPN, they see Membou at playing at the right tackle spot where he can use his lower body balance and foot quickness to handle the speed and pass protection while still displacing defenders in the run game. Kellen Moore saw the value of winning the edges in Philadelphia last season, and he could build up front in New Orleans. Now, it is really important to build the trenches. That is a very true thing. And I do believe the Saints need to continue to build the trenches because let's call a spade here. Just because things were better than they were the prior year doesn't mean that it's amazing. Doesn't mean that we should settle. I want to see the Saints continue to invest in the offensive line, but I also think that the New Orleans Saints have a lot of holes across the roster. It is important to address the trenches. It's very important to build the offensive line, to build the defensive line, but it's also important to add skill position players. It's also important to raise the overall talent level for the New Orleans Saints. And this is one of those things where the Saints could go any direction this year in the NFL draft. And especially in round one, there's so many different prospects. this is a fun conversation to have because, it feels like the first time in a handful of years that the first round pick, we genuinely don't know what's going to happen here. It's not crystal clear where the Saints are going to go. In previous years, it was very obvious. You got to go get a tackle. You got to go get a defensive lineman. You got to go get a wide receiver. You got to go get these types of players. Like this year, you could go quarterback. You could go running back. You could go wide receiver, tight end, offensive lineman, defensive lineman. You could literally do anything. And honestly, it would make sense for the Saints because there are so many holes on the roster and because it's a new regime and Kellen Moore needs the chance to build out his team. Now, I just want to kind of add some more context around this conversation. Here's what ESPN also said for other perfect fits for the draft. I said the Browns' perfect fit would be Shedeur Sanders, so keep an eye out there. There's also chatter about the Giants taking Shedeur Sanders and the Browns possibly taking Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter or something like that. Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders, Tyler Warren to the Colts, Will Johnson to the Falcons, Tetairoa McMillan to the Broncos, and then to round out the NFC South, Siobhan Revel and Jaden Higgins to the Bucks and the Panthers. I do think that the Saints, if they end up with Armand Membou, it's not a bad selection. But, I do think, in my personal opinion, going and getting a skill position player like a Tetairoa McMillan, like a Tyler Warren or an Ashton Jeanty would make more sense, or even going cornerback like Will Johnson or Jahdae Barron. So I want to ask you this question. Who is the best fit for the New Orleans Saints in round one? Get down in the comment section, share your thoughts, let me know what you guys think. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are so happy to finally cross over 43,000 subscribers, and now we're on the road to 44,000 because the big goal is 50K. So subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trizzy Trace. We'll have another video coming at you later. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time.